want to talk about three kind of weird things that I have done over the last 6 months that have helped me not completely get rid of my acne and eczema, but have made a significant difference in my skin and in my complexion. Now, for those of you who have been following me for a long time, you've probably heard me allude here and there to the fact that I have struggled with my skin since the time that I was a little girl. I have had eczema since the time I was a very, very, very young child. My feet especially would crack. They would be itchy. They would have hives. They would have red, dry patches. They would sometimes be bloody, and it was just no fun at all. As I got older, it moved to my hands, and then it moved to my face, and it was both acne and eczema, and it was especially concentrated on my face, which is not super fun. I have battled this all of my life, and we have tried creams, we have tried potions, we have tried lotions, we have tried all sorts of natural remedies. I have been on different diets. I tried taking out gluten, I tried taking out dairy, I tried taking out all processed chemicals, and nothing seemed to work. It was really frustrating, and I just got to the place where I was just like, I think this is just my lot in life. Well, then it ended up getting a whole lot worse, and my face got so bad that there was a time period where I didn't even want to go out in public. It was really bad, and this was back a number of years ago, and it was really bad, and I remember I had some speaking engagements, and it was quite embarrassing, and you would try to plaster on the concealer and plaster on the foundation and try to cover it up, but it just wasn't working. And so I ended up going to a dermatologist and ended up getting on medication, which I did not want to do, but I was just to the point of where I didn't want to look in the mirror and I didn't want to go out of the house, and so I felt like medication was what I needed to do in order to have my own sanity. So I tried all these different things, ended up going on medication, and had to take multiple medications and also use topical steroids just to try to kind of normalize my skin and have it be to a place where it was manageable. So that was that. And I just thought, this is my lot in life. This is just how it's going to be. Well, one day last year, I was doing a Periscope, and I was talking about my acne, and I was talking about waking up and having a breakout and just looking in the mirror, and how I had to remind myself that what I see in the mirror is not who I am. That does not define who I am. And so I was talking about that, and it was a powerful lesson, and there was one of my followers named Rachel who happened to be watching that Periscope, and she emailed me and she said, Crystal, I feel kind of weird reaching out to you and telling you this, but we have struggled with infertility for a long time, and I've been to many different doctors, tried many different things, and finally was introduced to this nutritionist, and he put me on this eating plan, and it completely changed my life, and I've been on this for a long time, ended up getting pregnant, having a very healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby, and she said, but one of the side effects, or the wonderful effects of being on this eating plan, is that my face and my complexion, my skin has just majorly changed. And she said, I know I feel weird even telling you this, but I just felt like I should tell you. And so she said, if you're interested, I can give you more information on the nutritionist. Well, I was like, I've tried everything in the world, and I just don't think that, this is gonna work. And I was very cynical. But, you can't knock something till you tried it. So I talked to my husband, and we ended up, I started working with that nutritionist. It was, as I've talked about on here, it was torture for the first about 8 weeks because I had to do a detox, and I could hardly eat anything, and I had to give up all of my favorite foods, including coffee and chocolate and pancakes and all the stuff that I love so much. But it has majorly changed my life, and it has majorly changed my skin to the point where instead of having to take all the medications and use the steroids and the medication topically, I have gotten off all of my medication, internally and externally. And I have been able to not have any medication and only had minor breakouts and minor eczema that I have been able to deal with just an over-the-counter eczema cream, and it's been incredible. So as I look back and I thought, what are the things that really changed my skin? Yes, working with the nutritionist. Yes, absolutely, doing the detox and all that made a major change. But I really feel like it was 3 kind of weird things that I did that have really made the biggest difference. So if you guys are interested, if you want more information on Jason, my nutritionist, I'm happy to send you that information. You can email me through my contact form or at moneysavingmom@gmail. Happy to give you that information. But today I'm not talking about that. Today, the 3 weird things are free. Why did I say that? The 3 weird things are completely free. They don't cost you any money. You don't have to sign up with a nutritionist. You don't have to do anything. They're completely free. Let me tell you the 3 things. Number 1 is that I gave up sugary desserts. I gave up sugary desserts. I completely cut them out. At first, I literally probably only had, for the first little bit, I think I had 4 items that I could eat. And then I had about 8 or 10 items that I could eat. And then we've gradually added more items back in. But I have completely given up sugary desserts. And as someone who has a very big sweet tooth, I thought I would never survive. And it was torture at first. And I realized how I was addicted to sugar. I had emotional eating that I did, where when I was kind of feeling sad, I would go eat some sugar. When I was feeling overwhelmed, I would go eat some comfort food. And so I did a lot of emotional eating that I didn't realize that I was doing. And food was this sort of comfort to me. But I was also addicted to sugar. And when I went off of it, when I went off of coffee, when I went off of sugar, I literally felt like someone who was having the withdrawal. I felt like crying. I couldn't focus. All I could think about was wanting to have chocolate cake. And I realized how food had dictated so much of my life in a very unhealthy way. Now, this might not be the case for you at all, but I was shocked because I've always eaten very healthfully. I have never really struggled with my weight. I have never been the kind of person to overeat, but food was filling something inside of me that was not in a healthy manner. And so going on the detox allowed me to really step back and have a very different perspective on food and how I was approaching food and what food was doing for me. And I was able to cut ties with those things and experience this freedom that I hadn't experienced of just knowing, you know what? That food does not control me. I am in control. I don't have to eat that to make me happy. And there was a lot of freedom and empowerment that came there. So number 1, I cut out sugary desserts. Now, will I never have sugar again? No, now we've added back in where I have sugar in trace amounts. I might have bread that has trace amounts of sugar. I've had things like Raisin Bran or Cheerios, like different things like that. So I will have trace amounts of sugar. And next week, actually, I get to add in a tiny little bit of dark chocolate. But I'm not even going crazy over thinking like, I need that. I can do without it. I know I can. So 6 months I've had dessert a few times in those 6 months. I had it for Christmas, I had it for Thanksgiving, and I had it, I think, once in South Africa. But otherwise, it's like I've been able to pass it up, and food does not have that hold on me. But here's the interesting thing. So it's really impacted my skin because I know that every time when I have had that sugar, I have had a breakout the next day. So I know that it's impacting my skin. So number 1, giving up sugary desserts. Number 2, drinking a gallon of water every single day. I had no idea, but my skin was really dehydrated. And when I started drinking a gallon of water, it was really hard at first. And I've talked about this on here. I've talked about it in my blog and on Instagram, that it was really hard. And I felt like, this is crazy. I'm totally over waterlogged and I'm just going to have to be in the bathroom all day long. But over the course of about 2 or 3 weeks, I started noticing that my skin looked more vibrant. My skin looked more moist. My skin was no longer dry. it just looked more alive. And as I continue to drink the water, I just know that drinking more water has really hydrated my skin and made such a difference. Number 3, I started getting enough sleep. This was another thing that Jason really worked with me on, because, you know, I thought he was just going to help me with eating. Oh no. He has pushed me in pretty much every single area of my life. And one of those was sleeping. And as I would do my daily check-ins, and when I'd say I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm irritable, yeah, I tell him all this stuff. And he started just really saying, how much sleep have you been getting? And he started really calling me out on the fact that I was not getting enough sleep. And I was like, really? I think I'm getting enough sleep, but I realized that I was having this slump in the afternoon for about 3 hours where I was just tired and I couldn't focus and I just was exhausted and I just wanted to go to bed. But then I was like, how am I going to find time to get more sleep? I feel like trying to get close to 7 hours is really pushing it. But the reality is that I would try to get 7 hours, but most nights I was only getting maybe 6 to 6.5. I wasn't hitting 7 hours very often. And so he pushed me. He said, you've got to reprioritize your schedule in order to make this happen. He's like, I just want you to try to make this happen and see what happens. So as I have been really consistent about reprioritizing, making sleep a much higher priority and saying, you know what, I'm going to have to let some things go. Things that I feel like are really important, I'm going to let them go. And as I did that, and made sleep a priority. Let myself sleep in if I needed to. Stop setting an alarm clock sometimes because I just wanted to see what it would be like to get enough sleep. I have felt like a different person. I have so much more energy. I can think so much more clearly. I am not having that afternoon slump. I can just go all day long and I don't get tired until it's evening and it's time for me to wind down and go to bed. I just rarely get tired otherwise. And the big thing is that I'm noticing is making a big difference on my skin. So this is really interesting, but if I ever have a night where I don't get enough sleep, let's say I have to get up early for some reason, or I stayed up late for some reason and I just didn't get enough sleep, I notice in the morning my skin is drier and it looks more wrinkled. And it's legit. Like, the wrinkles in my forehead are worse the less sleep that I get. And so I just wanted to share, these are the 3 things. They're kind of weird. They're all free. And they might not work for you, but for me, I was so excited because after years of struggling with all these skin issues, I'm just thrilled that I am not having to every single day wake up, look in the mirror, and agonize over, oh man, just like, it's no fun to look in the mirror and what's looking back at you is something that you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this because I feel like I'm doing all the right things. But I wasn't. I thought I was, or I thought I had tried everything, but to realize that there were things that I could change that would make such a big difference, and not just in my skin, but in my overall health and well-being and my energy and my happiness. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I will link in the description a post where I detailed that out a little bit more if you are interested in more details on how I got started drinking a gallon of water and things like that. Be happy to pass it on if any of you need the encouragement or want to try these weird things with me as well. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have struggled with skin issues, if you have found some things that have worked for you, let us know in the comments, because what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me, but it never hurts to try something new. If you're really trying to figure out, what do I do about this situation? If what you're doing isn't working, maybe it's time to try something new.